So today we're going to talk about the NXT Multigateway. So NXT Multigateway is a way that we can move Bitcoin, Litecoin, and potentially a lot of other coins in the future into the NXT blockchain. So with a single wallet, your NXT wallet, you'll be able to hold NXT, you'll be able to hold Bitcoin, Litecoin, and any other coins that are supported in the future. And this is all done without using an external exchange. So today, if you want to move between Bitcoin and Litecoin and NXT, you're going to have to do that through an external exchange and trust them. By holding all these coins on NXT, you can use the built-in asset exchange that's built into NXT. That's fully distributed and trustless. You can use that to trade all these assets around without having to trust a third party. So what we have drawn up here is I've got the NXT blockchain slash peer-to-peer network is what this cloud represents. We have our NXT wallet, which interfaces with the blockchain and other peers on the network. We have the multi-gateway servers here, and then we have the Bitcoin blockchain. So the Bitcoin blockchain is representative of all the peer-to-peer networks of the Bitcoin network as well as the blockchain itself. And then down here we have our typical Bitcoin wallet, whether that's blockchain or the standard Bitcoin QT client or Electrum or Hive or some kind of Bitcoin wallet down here. Now, let's talk about trust. So multi-gateway at a very high level, as I said, allows us to move these coins and represent them on the NXT blockchain. There's a one-to-one relationship between Bitcoin and one Bitcoin over here can be represented by a Bitcoin asset on the NXT blockchain. So we have the owners of the multi-gateway have created the different assets. So we have a multi-gateway BTC. There's also a multi-gateway LTC, and there's going to be one for each one of these coins. So from a trust point of view, at first glance, multi-gateway looks like an exchange, and it kind of is in some respects. But the differences between multi-gateway and a typical exchange is that all this code that runs on here, for one, is open and available. It's open for those people who ask. I've seen it. There is, the other piece is that all the Bitcoin transferred in and all the corresponding assets issued on the NXT blockchain can all be audited by anyone. So all these transactions are open and they can be seen. And what that allows us to do is to ensure that the amount of assets issued on this correspond to the amount of actual Bitcoin held by these servers. The other key reason that makes this trustworthy is the fact that we have 3 different servers here, and they're all using multi-sig on the Bitcoin blockchain. So what that means is that if one of these were to get compromised by a hacker of some sort, they're not going to be able to move any of that Bitcoin around, because you need a majority of these servers to sign those transactions to move that Bitcoin. So currently, the developer of the multi-gateway software currently is running these three servers, but there's our plans in place to transfer the ownership and operation of this to another individual in the NXT community, and this to another individual, a completely different individual. And what that allows is that now, not only do we not have to worry about hackers getting into these servers, but the owners of these servers are 3 different people, and using so it increases our security level and decreases the amount of trust we have to have in any one individual. Now, there is still a little bit of trust, even though we can monitor, to make sure that there's not, issuing fake assets when there's no corresponding real Bitcoin to back it. Even though we can monitor that in real time, doesn't mean that at some future point in time that one of these guys or really the owner of this, there was one, the developer of the Multigateway software created this asset. So ultimately he controls the majority of it. And this is in an offline wallet. And then every once in a while he refills, these have like little bits of this asset. And if these run down, they get refilled from up here. And what that does is basically this is your cold storage, and these are considered your hot storage of the asset, as well as on the Bitcoin side, that same protocol can be done as well, where each one of these will hold some amount of Bitcoin. If it gets too much, like if we get too many people putting Bitcoin in here and getting corresponding assets out over here, a lot of Bitcoin can accumulate on these servers that can get moved to an offline server. But the whole point of that is that I guess that there's still a little bit of trust that whoever owns this isn't going to just give themselves a bunch and then trade it through these servers and trade it out on the Bitcoin network. Now, if that happens, because all this is publicly available, it's going to be known very quickly. But we still have to have some amount of trust in the original developer of this software. And of this, really, the trust has to be in this asset issuer, not necessarily as much, especially if each one of these servers is run by a different individual. Very little trust has to be put in any individual, just that we, more than one of them don't collude together. But really, the trust comes up here with the person who issued the asset to begin with. So if some of this doesn't make sense about assets, I'd say go look at the NXT website and read about what assets are and the asset exchange and how all that works. But what we're going to do now is we're going to jump into the actual NXT wallet, and there's a little plugin, the Multigateway plugin. We're going to install that to the wallet. It allows the easy facilitation of moving Bitcoin to the NXT blockchain and vice versa, and moving it back out. All right, let's do that now. So now we're going to take a look at the actual Multigateway software. We're going to download it and install it. Now, I've not done this personally, so you're going to be kind of watching as I learn how to do it and kind of seeing me figure this out in real time. So I think this will give a better idea of what the experience is and how far along they are in the user interface part of it. Alright, so this is the multigateway.org website. Now, the only thing that I did do ahead of time was I downloaded the latest NXT wallet and let it run and to download the blockchain, so it's all up to date, so we don't have to wait for that to get done. Alright, so the website talks about how it works and how to use it, and supported coins. You can see that we got Bitcoin, Litecoin that are available now, and then we got future coins in development. So software downloads. So it looks like we've got like a one-click download installer for Windows that installs the client and the Multigateway extension. I'm on a Mac, so I'm just going to download the extension here. Alright, and then let's go down and see exactly what do I do to install this. Maybe user guide. Alright, Windows installer, Windows Mac Linux installer. Alright, I downloaded the 1.2.5 release already. I already unzipped the NXT client.
We just did this. Now it says unzip the UI extension to NXT HTML UI folder, overwriting existing files. Okay, well, let's go and do that. So here's the Lite that we just downloaded. Okay, so let's select all the files in this folder. Let's copy these. Now let's go into NXT HTML UI, and we'll just say paste, and we'll say apply to all and replace. Okay, we did that. Now we go to terminal, and I'm in the NXT folder, so we'll just run it from there. The NXT starts up, it scans the blockchain that it's downloaded. So probably take a minute. Fast forward here, and then we'll jump into the wallet. Alright, so we got NXT started up. We'll go ahead and come in here and copy the address here. So just a refresher, NXT is a service that runs on my own computer. So basically I'm connecting to my own computer. So I'm not really going out to the internet here. This is just running on my local laptop here. Now I set up a test account to use for this and transferred some NXT in there. So we'll log in, make sure that works, and it sees the NXT. Okay, yep, we see the account balance of 5. That's what I expect. I transferred a little bit in there. So we could use this. If you're just starting out, there is an NXT faucet that you can use. I've already used it, so they don't let me use it anymore. But if you're a first-time nexter, you can use that. Alright, so NXT services, Multigateway. Alright, welcome to Multigateway Tour. Click here to start your tour with some free NXT. Your account, oh sure, yeah, let's do that. Okay. Oh, so this is going to take you, it takes you right into the NXT faucet. That's pretty cool. Good idea. Again, already, I've used this faucet, so since you have to put in your email address, they don't let me use it again. So your account ID, okay, yeah. Next. So supported coin list. Click here for a list. That's pretty cool. So it looks like they put some serious work in to make this easy for new users. I can end the tour. It looks like I could start it back up if I need to. Let's continue on the tour. I like this. This is good. Let's go ahead and click next. Deposit address. When the searching is completed, generate your MGW converting account to deposit your preferred coin and start trading in asset exchange. Okay, next. So it's searching for deposit addresses. Trade with your balance shown here. Okay, cool. So this is an asset. I assume this is the MGW BTC asset, trading just like any other asset. Experience your first trading asset exchange, okay? And it's pointing over there. Withdrawal. Send your MGW account balance to your personal coin wallet. And that's it. That's the end the tour. Okay, so first we need to generate a receive. So well, first let's say we got BTC and LTC. So we've got BTC, LTC. Let's go ahead and generate a Bitcoin deposit address. So I'm going to go ahead and put in now that's asking for my NXT passphrase. Now I did look this, I was aware of this, that to generate your deposit account, you do need at least one NXT, as this, look advanced here. To send this out, what this is essentially doing is, as we've shown, this sends out a message out on the blockchain, and that has a cost of 1 NXT as a fee currently. So hit generate. So that's going to get broadcasted out onto the network. And it says processing time equals 20 minutes. So we'll go ahead and I'll watch the clock. It's 10:50 right now. And we'll see how long it takes to get that address. So we'll fast forward, and I'll see you in 20 minutes. Alright, so now it's been a little over, I checked around 20 minutes, and it still hadn't generated my address. But now I came back about 35 minutes later, and we do have a Bitcoin deposit address. Alright, so now what we want to do is, unfortunately, that did not come up as a QR code, so that would be handy if that was a QR code. But let's see if I can figure out how to send some Bitcoin to this address. So the next step is to copy and paste. Oh, I can figure out how to do this. Give me a sec. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I've copied that address over to my blockchain wallet, which is a Bitcoin wallet. And I've got a couple BTC. I'm going to send just 0.01, which is $5. I'm going to send $5 into the multi-gateway. So I'm going to go ahead and hit send payment. Would you like to add the Bitcoin address to my address book? Sure, I'll say multi-gateway. Alright, so the blockchain app is now, my iPhone is now signing the transactions. It's pushing the transactions out to the network. I just got a email notification that a payment went out from my blockchain wallet. Alright, so let's read here. So it'll appear, to the above address will appear after 6 confirmations. Alright, so so we'll go ahead and pull up blockchain.info. We'll search for we'll put in the address here, and you can see that I sent some 0.01 Bitcoin in there, and it's currently unconfirmed. So now we got to wait for 6 confirmations. So probably have to pause here and wait for, because 6 confirmations should take about an hour. And we'll circle back in about an hour and see if that Bitcoin is shown up in our multi-gateway account on our next address. Alright, we're back. So actually, instead of coming back in an hour, I am coming back the next day. But the first thing that we see here is that I now have 0.01 of this asset called Multi-Gateway Bitcoin. So it did work. Let's go take a look at our transactions and see kind of how long that took. So, so the multi-gateway is actually leveraging the messaging function built into the NXT or Next protocol, and that's by allowing us to send arbitrary messages, we can basically layer anything on top of NXT. So this first message down here, this was the message that I sent out, and this message is how I requested my NXT address. And then I believe at this 0040, this 0040 is when I received my address for Bitcoin. So it took about a half hour, or almost an hour to get my receive address. And then approximately shortly after that, I actually sent the Bitcoin. And then about approximately 1 hour later, I received the asset transfer. So this is the transfer of that asset. So that's pretty cool. So in this address generation, this is like a one-time thing. So now if we go back into NXT services, multi-gateway, I already have my deposit address for both Bitcoin as well. If I go down to Litecoin, actually, it also generated my Litecoin receive address as well. So the generation is a one-time deal, and then after that, all you got to do is send Bitcoin in there, and then an hour later, about approximately an hour later, you'll get a multi-gateway asset transferred to your account. So now what I can do with that, with that asset, I can now go on, since NXT has a built-in exchange. We can go on to the asset exchange, and I can sell my multi-gateway Bitcoin for NXT, or I could buy multi-gateway Bitcoin with NXT already had, and then from the NXT services menu, you can cash out. So we're not going to buy and trade any of the multi-gateway. Actually, let's go back real quick. Just look at one thing on here. So if I wanted to sell my asset, I would just put in 0.01, and the current price is 155 NXT is about what I can expect for 0.01 Bitcoin. And so if we just go look at, let's go look at, I think DGX. See if this is right. Hopefully. Okay. So let's look at the NXT Bitcoin transfer rate. I don't see trading. I'll just go to better. And let's take a look at the current exchange rate for NXT. So right now it's trading at about 1,500 NXT for one Bitcoin. Let's go look at it. Let's go to markets, Bitcoin markets, go to NXT per Bitcoin. And so let's just do on the calculator 1 divided by 0.0000689. And so on this website, this exchange, it's trading for about 14,513. And you can see on the next asset exchange, it's also trading right around that mark. So it's a little better deal actually on the built-in asset exchange currently, but pretty darn close in terms of tracking the real asset price there. Okay, so let's go down to NXT services. Go back to multi-gateway, and I'm gonna switch over to this other window and copy and paste my address. Okay, so I just copy and pasted my a Bitcoin address of one of my Bitcoin wallets. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to withdraw this and see how long that takes. So I'm going to withdraw it to my Bitcoin address, and we'll just pull out the entire amount. So that we see there is a fee, but it's very low, 0.0001 Bitcoin for the multi-gateway fee, and then it's charging us the blockchain fee. So they're not having to pay that. So we'll go ahead and hit withdraw. Now I have to use my NXT wallet passphrase in order to send this. Because again, what this is doing is just sending a message through the NXT blockchain, and then the multi-gateway servers are going to see that, be able to see that because they're plugged into the NXT blockchain as well. So go to messages. So messages, you can see this because it's kind of putting a protocol on top of the messaging layer. You can kind of see what's going on here, but it's kind of gibberish looking. But we go to transactions, we see we see that there was an asset transfer. So actually, so so that quick. Actually, you just saw this pop up. Because we can actually attach arbitrary messages to almost every kind of transaction in Bitcoin, what it did is it actually just transferred my asset back um, back to them. So let's click this transaction ID, and then I can add a comment. And this is it provided my withdrawal address in the comment. So that way we pulled, it transferred the asset and provided the withdrawal address all in one step. So we have one confirmation there. I don't know how many confirmation Multigateway waits for, but I will. So we sent that at 12:05 a.m. and we'll see how long it takes before that shows up in my my Bitcoin wallet. All right, so now we're back here the next day, and we'll check on this transaction. So let's see. So we had an incoming transaction. Interestingly, it came from this address, and actually they paid off multiple people at once. So I think that it looks like they're trying to consolidate payout events to minimize probably the Bitcoin fees they have to pay that they have to pay. So it looks like this is the one that we're interested in, and it's just as it said, it would be 0.0098 Bitcoin, and this happened at 840. This says 8:46. I thought I saw it earlier than that. This might be not sure what time zone. According to my Bitcoin wallet, it showed up at 3:46. So that would be a delay of about 3 hours. I sent it about right at midnight, and so about just shy of 4 hours later, I got the payout. So I'm not sure what schedule they're paying out, but I did successfully get the payout. So I got my $5 back out of NXT. So I transferred that asset, converted it back into Bitcoin. All right, so that's it. That's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you learned, and go give Multigateway a try.